Coming up on the Cross the Middle show, we're going to talk about the Seahawks offense. We're also going to talk about if Russell Wilson can bounce back with the Broncos. Let's start with the Seahawks offense. The Seahawks are loaded on offense. Remember, they have DK Metcalf, they have Tyler Lockett, and they have Jaxon Smith-Njigba. And Njigba has been really good at camp. He's way ahead of the curve. Remember, when these rookies come in, they have a learning curve that they have to go through before they get up to speed. Well, Jaxon Smith-Njigba looks like a 5-year veteran. He's smooth. He's getting in and out of his breaks really well. The guy can flat out play. We're already hearing that. Well, when you have DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, and Jaxon Smith-Njigba, you basically are loaded on the offensive side of the ball. You have playmakers all over the field. Geno Smith is going to be even better because this Seahawks offense is better than they were a year ago. Let's not forget that the Seahawks are kind of closing the gap on the 49ers in the NFC West. I think that's the way this division is going to eventually go. I don't know if the Seahawks are going to pass the 49ers this year. I don't know when it will happen, but I do think the Seahawks are going to be the team that eventually surpasses the 49ers. Really, the reason this is happening is because of the Russell Wilson trade. The Seahawks took a big risk by trading Russell Wilson. Everyone was wondering if the Seahawks were going to tank, if they were done for. Well, they were a winning team and they made the playoffs this past year, so they were the biggest surprise in the NFL. Geno Smith was a lot better than people thought he was going to be. Well, now, he's got even better weapons out wide. So Geno Smith should be even better this year. Jaxon Smith-Njigba looks like he's the real deal. Tyler Lockett is one of the best vertical threats in the NFL. DK Metcalf is a big receiver that can run like the wind. I mean, it's amazing all the weapons they have on this offense. I know the 49ers are stacked, but eventually they're going to have to hold off the Seahawks. I don't know if they're going to be able to do that. The Seahawks are coming because of that Russell Wilson trade. That set them up so well. I think eventually the NFC West is going to shift in the Seahawks' favor. I think Pete Carroll is going to do what he's done for most of his career, which is find a way to win. I know early on he struggled with, the Patriots, but, at USC with the Seahawks, he really got back on track there, became a winner at both those stops, and now that's why Pete Carroll has been so successful with the Seahawks is because he just knows how to win now. He built that team up into a contender. He gets it done with a defensive mindset. It's all about the defense for Pete Carroll. Well, I mean, they're winning. They've been a winner since he's been there. And now he loads up the offense on the other side of the ball, gets Jaxon Smith-Njigba, adds him to DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. It's looking really good for the Seahawks. I'm excited. I'm excited to see this offense. I'm excited to see if Geno Smith just lights it up because there's just so much talent around him. That's the way things seem to be heading. I'm excited. Jaxon Smith-Njigba ended up being a good draft pick from what it sounds like for the Seahawks. They're going to have too much firepower to stop, so to say. I think some of these defenses are going to be outgunned. Really, it's going to come down, though. 49ers and Seahawks, these two teams met up in the playoffs this past year. 49ers had the edge, won the game. That gap appears to be closing. The Seahawks are, they're getting better. There's no doubt about that. The 49ers have to find a way to hold this team off. Eventually, it does feel like the Seahawks are going to surpass the 49ers. I know I already said that, but that's the way I see the NFC West eventually shaking out. Give Pete Carroll all the credit in the world. He goes to the other side of the ball on offense, decides to load up on that side of the ball, and, just put together an offense that's going to be so high-powered that he can kind of rival the 49ers' high-powered offense. These two teams aren't that different. They're really not. The 49ers had the high-powered offense, and the Seahawks, they had DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett, but they weren't on the same level as the 49ers. Now with Jaxon Smith-Njigba, it's a lot closer, and we're going to see. We're going to see how it all shakes out. Like I said, these two teams met in the playoffs this past year. The 49ers won that game. It's going to be exciting to see how they fare when these two teams meet up again because this is a different Seahawks team. They got a lot better. They're right there when it comes to taking this division. Really, it could go either way. I'm excited to see what happens there. The other story is, can Russell Wilson bounce back with the Broncos? Russell Wilson kind of made a mistake by overvaluing himself a little bit, kind of thinking that I can go wherever I want and I'm going to ball out because I'm Russell Wilson. Well, he gets traded to the Broncos, and that wasn't the case at all. The Broncos' problems were bigger than the quarterback position. It didn't matter that Russell Wilson was their quarterback because they were still just an awful football team. Russell Wilson kind of gets a reality check that, football is a team sport. It's not about one individual player. The Broncos they're not a good football team. At least they weren't this past year. We'll see. We have to find out whether or not Russell Wilson can bounce back. Now, it seemed like he's kind of been distracted for a little bit. Ever since he kind of got with Sierra, he's been a little bit distracted, but that doesn't mean that the Broncos can't have success. Melvin Gordon thinks Russell Wilson can bounce back and have a lot of success. His teammates love him. DK Metcalf loved Russell Wilson when he was with the Seahawks. So he has the support of the people around him. The question is, can Russell Wilson go out on the field and actually get it done? Because the Broncos, nothing has gone their way recently. Ever since they won that Super Bowl, nothing has gone their way. They've been burning through quarterbacks. Head coaches haven't worked out. For whatever reason, the Broncos haven't been able to get it right. And, Russell Wilson might be able to bounce back, but that doesn't necessarily mean the Broncos are going to be a winning team. Even if Russell Wilson gets better, even if he throws for 25 touchdowns and 10 interceptions and has a good year, not a great year, but a good year, he could still be on a losing team and still be in the crosshairs a little bit, because if the team's not winning, the players are going to take heat. That's just the way the National Football League goes. Russell Wilson isn't excluded from that. It doesn't matter if he performs good. If the team is still losing, people are going to say, was that trade worth it? Was it the right move for this team? I'm still wondering whether or not that's the case. I don't know if trading for Russell Wilson was the right move for the Broncos. Right now, I have to say no, if I'm just being objective and honest. I don't think that was the right move for this team so far. We'll see, though. Can Russell Wilson get back to being the guy he was when he was with the Seahawks? Had some great years with the Seahawks. Probably should have won an MVP one of those years with the Seahawks because he was just playing great during a stretch that he was there. He needs to get back to that level of play if he wants to start winning people over in Denver. We're going to find out, though. Can he get it done? Can he be the guy that he once was? Can he turn this team into a winner? Can he at least make them competitive again? Because he doesn't have to get it all back in one season. He doesn't even have to get it back all in 2 seasons. But he has to at least show that the team is heading in the right direction. Last year when they had Russell Wilson, there wasn't enough there. I mean, the offense was terrible. It was the defense that was keeping this team in games. The offense was nowhere to be found, despite the fact they had Russell Wilson. So it was almost like you could have kept all those journeyman quarterbacks that you had and had the same results. Instead, you trade all these draft picks, all this draft capital. You get Russell Wilson, and it doesn't work out in your favor. Well, you could have kept all those draft picks and kept improving your roster. Well, the Broncos don't go that route. They trade for Russell Wilson. They go all in on Russell Wilson. It hasn't worked out this far. We're going to find out. We're going to find out when it comes to Russell Wilson. It's gut check time for Russell Wilson. Can he be the man that he once was? Can he be a big-time football player in this league? Is he the right guy to lead this team into the future? Do the Broncos have brighter days ahead of him? All questions we need answers to. It's on Russell Wilson. It starts with the quarterback in the National Football League. I know it's a team game, but if he can at least give them something, a spark that energizes this team, something that they can rally around, it would go a long ways in turning the Broncos around. Remember, they're in a tough division. I think Russell Wilson also overlooked that. Going against the Chiefs is not easy. The Chargers are loaded with talent. The Raiders are getting better. It's not easy to be in the AFC West. There's no doubt about that. When you play the Chiefs, that's twice a year. That's almost 2 guaranteed losses. The Chargers are almost that way too. I just don't see it going the Broncos' way in this division, but who knows? Maybe Russell Wilson can pull off a miracle and at least make them competitive again where they can get within reach of the other teams. Then maybe the following year they can actually be a competitive team that has a shot at a winning season. I don't know, though. I'm not sure if it's going to work. It's not looking good for Russell Wilson right now. His big gamble didn't pay off. The Seahawks look like the smarter side in that trade because they trade Russell Wilson, get a whole bunch of draft picks. They're back in the hunt. Hasn't gone as well for Russell Wilson. That's all I got for the Across the Middle show. I'm John Kuzma. I'm signing off.